Elimination Level 2. So for this Wednesday's Math 8 assignment, we're reviewing Level 2, which we learned earlier in the year, and it builds on what we did last Wednesday, which was Math 8 Review 5. Last week we went over Level 1. This is going to build on it with Level 2. So while I go over this, if you're lost on this one, you may want to go back to last Wednesday. So from Google Classroom, write down both equations. So 2x plus 3y is equal to negative 4. Underneath that, we have x plus 9y is equal to 13. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just solve this two different ways to underscore a key idea is you don't have to necessarily do it exactly the same way. I mean, the steps or ways you're going to do it's going to be the same. Okay, so just remember, the goal of elimination is to get opposites. And when we have opposites, they're going to cancel. So this is a 2 and that's a 1, this is a 3 and that's a 9. So you have to just ask yourself, do you want to go ahead and try and cancel the x's or the y's? On the left, I'm going to show you that a common number between 2 and 1, if you were to skip count by 2's and 1's, that the next multiple of 1 would be 2. So 2 would be kind of our goal in this. In other words, if I have 2x on the top, I would like to turn that right there into a negative 2x so that 2x minus 2x would cancel. And the way that I would do that is I would multiply this bottom equation by a negative 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite both equations below. Switch over to blue just to show it. So the top equation is perfect as is. So there's 2x, and again I'm just moving these down here. So 2x plus 3y equals negative 4. That's the top equation. The bottom equation I'm going to multiply by a negative 2 so that 1x will turn into a negative 2x, which as you can see now will cancel with that positive 2x. Don't forget to distribute negative 2 to the rest of the equation. Negative 2 times 9y is negative 18y. Negative 2 times 13 is negative 26. And now at this point, we have opposites, so I'm just going to draw a horizontal line. I'm going to combine the equations. Cancel, cancel. 13y minus 18y is negative 15y. Negative 4 minus 26 is negative 30. And then I'll divide by a negative 15 on each side. And I find out that y is equal to a positive 2. Now that I have y is equal to positive 2, I'm going to take that 2 and you can substitute it in for y or the top of the bottom. I'm going to go back into the top equation just because I think it's easier. But again, it's up to you. I'm going to bring down that equation, 2x plus 3. Where the y used to be, since y is equal to 2, I will put 2 into the parentheses there. Should be equal to negative 4. I'm going to multiply 3 times 2 to simplify the equation, so I have 2x plus 6 is equal to negative 4. And then I'll subtract 6 on each side, and we're almost done. So now I have 2x is equal to a negative 10. Then I'll divide by 2 on each side. And let's see if I can sneak it in here, down x equals negative 5. So my ordered pair is, let's see, my x value is negative 5 and my y value is 2. So we'll put in negative 5 comma 2, which I already have over here. Put submit and we got that. Now I did want to go ahead and show you, I wrote the equation twice because I wanted to show you that if you were actually really good with the idea of opposites, if you didn't want to get rid of the x terms, you could have got rid of the y terms. In other words, if you count by 3 and 9, I can actually turn this positive 3 into a 9y, or more specifically, if I multiply the top equation by a negative 3, watch what will happen. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 3y is negative 9y, and now you'll see why. Negative 3 times positive 3 is negative 9y, which is the opposite of 9y. All right, negative 3 times negative 4 is 12. And then I'm just going to rewrite the bottom equation. It's already perfect as is. So I've got x plus 9y is equal to 13. Because I have a negative 9y and positive 9y. I'm going to add them together, and again, those cancel. So negative 6x added to 1x is negative 5x equals 25. And then I'll divide by a negative 5 on each side. And although we know that x is already equal to a negative 5, notice we have a negative 5 here, we solved it a slightly different way. Now all I would have to do is take negative 5 and substitute it for x, either in the top equation or the bottom equation. I just want to finish this off to make sure it's super clear though. I'm going to go to the bottom equation just because I think it's easier, and I'll finish it off down here. So I have negative 5 in parentheses plus 9y equals 13. That's really just going to simplify to negative 5 plus 9y equals 13. And then let's see, I add 5 on each side, and we have 9y is equal to 18. And then divide by 9 on each side. And although we already know that y should be equal to a positive 2, by a different approach we found that. So I'm just going to box the final answer. So there you have it. As long as you understand opposites and you can skip count to find your opposites, you're going to do just fine. I'll see if I can find one more example. Find the solution of the system of equations. Okay. So let's write down both equations. I've got 8x plus 7y equals 47. Underneath that, I have a negative 4x minus 5y is equal to a negative 25. And the reason I showed you with this one is in our last example, all the x's and y's were positive, so we actually had to multiply by a negative number. But sometimes, notice that this is a positive, this is a negative, that's a positive, that's a negative. We're already set, so chances are when you have one equation with positives and one with negatives, you're going to multiply it by not a negative number, just a positive number. So you just have to ask yourself, do you want to deal with 8 and 4 or 7 and 5? And I'm kind of extending this into if I had gone to level 3. Most people are going to say, well, I would rather deal with 8 and 4 because most people will realize that this negative 4x can be easily transformed into a positive 8x, or sorry, leave it a negative 8x, because there's a positive 8x and then the x's would cancel. But I could go a step further and I could go ahead and show you how to get rid of the y's. So if this makes sense to you, if I skip count by 7 and 5, eventually I would end up with 35. So the top one, I would multiply everything by 5 to turn that into a positive 35, and then I would multiply everything on the bottom by 7, so that would turn it into a negative 35y, and it would cancel. So if you understand that, you're going to do just fine next year in Math 1 or Compact or Math 2, depending on what course you're taking this year. But just to make it a little bit easier again, I'm going to settle on the fact that 8x is already what I want, and I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by the number 2. So the top equation, I'm just going to write them down here, is perfect as is, which is 8x plus 7y equals 47. I'm going to distribute 2 through the bottom equation to get negative 8x minus 10y equals negative 50. And now that I have opposites, the negative 8x, positive 8x, negative 8x cancel. 7y minus 10y is negative 3y. And then 47 minus 50 is negative 3. We'll divide by a negative 3 on each side, and we find out that y is equal to a positive 1. Now that I know y is equal to 1, I'm going to substitute that into, I'm going to do the top equation just so I can avoid dealing with negatives. Sometimes people forget their negatives and then they make small mistakes. So I've got 8x plus 7, parentheses, in goes 1 for y, is equal to 47. That will simplify to 8x plus 7, because 7 times 1 is 7, equals 47. And then we'll subtract 7 on each side, and 8x is equal to 40. And then divide by 8 on each side, and x is equal to 5. So I finally have my answer of my x value is 5, my y value is 1. We'll plug that in there. So in summary, let's see if we got this one right. In summary, if you realized that this 7y could turn into a positive 35y, and if you realize that this negative 5 could turn into a negative 35, that's fine. But realize that you would have to multiply this top equation by 5 and the bottom equation by negative 7. So it's more work, but you'll still get the correct answer. And again, that's just extension for when you get to the level 3 type questions. Thanks for viewing and have yourself a great day.